Are you looking to extend the capacity on your shotgun? If you are, we have something good for you. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Outdoor Gear. My name is Aaron Bottoms, and today we're going to dive into something that I personally love to use when I go out for conservation snow goose hunting. That is extended magazines, and more specifically, the Carlson extended magazine. I've had some experience with them. I've used them on my Franke. I have an 8-shot, and now we're going to dive into a 12-shot. But if you want to see different ones, please like, share, subscribe, because this will get us different items in, different magazine extensions to show you, such as the Nordic, and what else is out there? I think it's the Lance, and all these other ones that are out there that we can do a comparison to show you which is the best option for you. But I personally have the Carlson, so we're going to show you the Carlson for my new gun. So I was fortunate enough to purchase a Super Black Eagle 1 for a good deal. It's in immaculate condition, and of course, me being me, I had to go ahead and find a way to get a magazine extension for this bad boy for Arkansas and snow goose season. So I've always wanted to get those extra long magazine extensions. I had the 8-shot, which was short on my Franke, and now I'm gonna have a big boy for this guy. So let's dive in and show you what it's about. All right, it didn't come in a fancy box, probably because it's fairly long here, but we'll show you what it's about and show you what's in the box here. So obviously, we've got the extra long spring. So, nice and long, nice and stiff. We've got the tube itself. And here in the bottom. And then we finally have the spring follower here, which I'll get into, and then you have this stabilizer bracket or sling mount, whatever you'd like to call it. So it's fairly straightforward. This is the 12 gauge version, 12-shot, which means that when you fill up your bottom with this on your tube at the bottom there, it should hold 12 rounds, and then one in the chamber. We'll see what it actually holds when we get to that portion. We'll go ahead and break the gun down and get it installed. It's fairly simple, nothing crazy, but I've also done it a few times, taking them on and off over the years. I've got some practice. We are unloaded. There's nothing in the chamber. You just take the cap off of the top there, and hopefully you can see right there, that little cap. And we're going to take a screwdriver. There's specific tools that you can use if you're, want to do that. However, it's easy enough to take a screwdriver, keep your fingers on the top here, stick the screwdriver in the hole, and pry up just enough to get that spring to come out. And we pop it on out. Of course, if you're putting an extended magazine in, then you do not need a plug in there. And then you have your, get this bad boy back together. Okay, and then of course you have your stopper. Now, Carlson, I don't know if they make a CNC'd stopper, but I know Nordic does. But you can use just your regular stopper, or you can use the actual guide here. I've had issue with these guides. I've had, I don't know if the spring necessarily bound up, but my shells were not coming out the way they should have. This was getting clogged up and stuff like that. So if you want to use this, try it out. But I don't think you need it. I don't recommend using it. I say just go ahead and put your cap back in for your tube. Pop that down in there. Put your spring in. The fun part of getting this whole mamma jamma on here, it takes a little bit of coercing here, but it's not too bad. You just slowly guide it in there. You don't want anything getting bound up, and then you screw it down. And it's got lots of threads on the Super Black Eagle, which is nice. And you don't need to over tighten it by any means, but that's what she looks like. Obviously, she's fairly long. I've got an extended tube on there, or extended choke tube on there, and it goes past that. So when I'm going to be out there shooting, I've got lots and lots of barrel going on there. Plus, I'll probably have the shot cam on there, so it's going to be a lot more weight with the 12 rounds in here. So this is going to be a heavy thing. So if you don't want a heavy gun, don't get a long extension tube. I knew what I was getting into, and for 80 bucks, I got this at a local store here, Green Top in Virginia here, and it came pretty quickly, so definitely recommend that. But we're going to go out to the range, and we're going to show you what this thing can do and how it actually takes rounds going in and out, because, again, there's a chance that this would get bound up in here, and we don't want that, especially if we're going after a game and we're shooting, and we don't need any sort of binding in the spring or making sure our shells are ejected. Before we do that, I want to show you how simple this is. Two different sides here. You've got a wider side and you've got a smaller side. So obviously the smaller side goes on the barrel itself, and then the wider side goes on the tube, and you can slide it. It's recommended that you put it up here so it stabilizes the actual tube and everything, but again, it's not necessary unless you're using a sling, which I'm going to put mine down here because I don't want any tension on up here while I'm shooting, especially if I have my sling on there and it is pulling by any means, or if I'm walking with my dog to go retrieve birds. I don't want the tension to be up here at the top where when I'm pressure going out, this slides and moves and scratches up my barrel. I'm also probably going to look into putting some sort of rubber gasket on here. I know Nordic sells one for their stuff. But again, you like, subscribe, and let me know. And if you get a lot of views on this guy here, and you tell us that you want to see the Nordic, we're going to go get the Nordic for you, and we'll put that on the Franke or another gun, and we'll show you how that one works comparative to this one. But that's neither here nor there at the moment. So if we take our cap off, I'll show you just how the sling works and what I recommend when tightening this down. So obviously the hole is going to match up where the sling is going to be tight. So I recommend having the holes vertical and then turning it into place and closing it down like so. My sling came apart here, but I'll get that straight. That way, all the pressure is pulling down against it, and it's not going to go up and down, especially also when you're shooting, it doesn't rub back and forth. But again, I recommend trying to get a gasket. I'm going to make something work, that rubber or some sort of barrier between the barrel and this sling mount or stabilizer, whatever you want to call it. So let's get out to the field, and I'll show you how this thing runs. All right, everybody, we're out here at the range, and today we're just going to go ahead and shoot 2 3/4, 7.5 shot, just simple estates, low-powered shells. The theory of my test, or what I want to really get after with this extension tube, is how well it cycles the shells. If you're out there shooting and it locks up on you because the spring's not strong enough or whatever it may be, that is not going to be what you want in the field while you're trying to take your game. Whether or not you're shooting pigeons or snow geese, we need this to be reliable, or even self-defense for that matter. So like I said, we're using low-powered shells to make sure that this will cycle through the gun and that it has enough spring pressure to push the shell out, and we'll be able to shoot the next shot. So we'll get loaded up. What we're going to do is we're going to start with 2 shots. We're going to start with one in the chamber and one on the bottom. So we'll shoot, it'll cycle, and we'll shoot again. If it does that, great. That's going to test to make sure our spring is strong enough to get that round out and up into the chamber. And the other thing we're going to test is if it's fully all the way packed with shells. It's supposed to hold, I think, 14. We'll see what it actually does. We load the bad boy up, load everything in the bottom, and see if that spring compresses too much or if it binds at it by any means. So we'll shoot our twice, or shoot the 2 shots. We'll load it all the way up, and we will just send all 14 shells or whatever it's going to take and send it down range. So we'll do that. All right, let's do it. Alrighty, so we got our 2 shots here. Nothing in chamber, nothing below. Go ahead and load it up and see what it does. Easy enough. No problem there. Fill it all the way up and see what it does then. All right, of course, safety first. So we are currently unloaded. We're shooting downrange that way. Everything else is behind us, so we're good to go. Let's get started. Go ahead and close the chamber. Add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11. So that's 11, 2 3/4 in the bottom, and 1 in the chamber. So that's 12 shots. Okay, so not 14. For some odd reason, I thought it would be 14. But that's all right. 12 is probably plenty. So 1 in the chamber, 11 in the bottom. We're just going to send it and see how it does. Count along with me and make sure they all fire. Around the hole. No problem. All right, we got a few more shells to rack off here. So just to prove that we are not firing any sort of blank or anything like that, and there are actually shots going down range. Got a couple cans set up. 2 birds, 1 stone. I'll take it. What you might not have saw on camera, maybe you saw it before I did, is at one point, I guess the low-powered shell didn't kick in, have enough push to get back up. Could simply just be the low-powered shell. Obviously, that one didn't have a problem racking that round back up there, but all I had to do was pull it back in place. But I'm going to rack that up to the shell and not the spring itself. All right, got a few more in here. Let's see if we can get a close one. All right, see right there? I'm saying that's due to the shell itself and not the spring, because the spring is kicking that shell out in the bottom down there, and it's not enough force to push this back all the way to let it go. So I'm saying that's that low-powered shell coming in force, which low-powered shells aren't made for typical, well, I guess they could be used for shooting pigeons and stuff like that, but I'm gonna rack that up to those low-powered shells. I don't think I'll have any issue with a higher velocity shell. I mean, those are only going 1,145 FPS, which is very low. Standard velocity for a duck load is 1,300 at the low end and goes up higher. So I'm gonna say these shells are just low, but get a few more off here. Just like that, she's empty, no problem. All right, well, I think that pretty much wraps it up for us here. I can take these homemade earplugs out, which did their job. Again, Super Black Eagle Benelli with the Carlson extended magazine. It comes in all sorts of different lengths. You can go from anything from the +8, the +7. This was, I believe, the +12, which sticks out a little bit further. I think the +10 would probably sit about here. And this is a 28-inch barrel on this shotgun. So overall, very excited, very happy with it. I had a couple, mishaps with the low-powered shells in my mind, so I'm not too concerned about that at all. And she fired great. She did her job, and I'm excited to use it in Arkansas this year. So if you want to see more of these magazine extension videos, maybe we'll do a couple comparisons. We'll get a couple other ones in and go from there. Like I said, there's the Nordic, there's the Lancers, there are all sorts of different makers now, and the Brileys. So if you want to see those, please like, subscribe, share so that we can justify ordering some more of these bad boys and doing some more reviews for you. So again, thank you for watching. Hope you liked it, and we'll see you on the next one.